If there was ever a perfect epitome of a classic car rental company, Hertz may have been the one. Hertz, a 104-year-old corporation, had grown to become one of the largest car rental companies in the world. The iconic black and yellow colored cars have always been a comfortable choice for travelers looking to hire a car at an airport. But what has led to Hertz's bankruptcy? The answers are many, and they are certainly not what most people seem to think. Is it only due to the pandemic, or are there other factors at play? Welcome to Wealthy Mindset, where we explore unique and breathtaking angles from the world of money, economics, personal finance, and investing. But before we dive into it, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, click on the bell icon right there so you never miss any of our subsequent videos. Well, let's go all the way back to 1918, when Walter Jacobs, a former Ford Motor salesman, leased a dozen Ford Model Ts and founded Rent-A-Car Inc. In just 5 years, his company had a fleet of 600 cars and a turnover of $1 million. In 1923, Walter sold the company to John Hertz, who renamed it Hertz Drive Yourself System. In 1926, General Motors bought the venture and launched its first airport car rental center at Chicago's Midway Airport in 1932. However, John Hertz bought back the brand in 1953 and formed the Hertz Company. Following that, he bought a truck leasing enterprise with 4,000 trucks. Hertz was again sold in 1967 to Radio Corporation of America, who controlled it for over 20 years. Afterwards, in 1985, UAL acquired it for $590 million, and then it was again sold to Park Ridge, a Ford Motor Company subsidiary. The rental industry accounted for up to 10% of Ford's profits before taxes. Hertz expanded much faster under Ford's ownership. Hertz, however, became a bit of a hassle for Ford, and thus it sold Hertz to a private equity group for $5.6 billion in 2005. In 2012, under new management, Hertz bought Dollar Thrifty for $2.3 billion, giving Hertz 10,400 outlets and a presence in 150 countries. Hertz had approximately 500,000 vehicles in its fleet in the United States by 2014, including specialized cars, hybrids, and premium vehicles. So, how did Hertz end up in this situation? To begin with, Hertz was a highly expensive to run and difficult to manage as a business. Hertz, like many other rental businesses, used its own fleet as a source of financing in order to keep it running. They planned to pay back the debts with the profits from the business. However, the corporation has struggled to make payments due to fierce competition from other rental companies, including Uber and Lyft, as well as global financial turmoil. Hertz's major issue was that their debt had grown to around $18 billion. However, Hertz was well aware of the consequences. In 2014, Hertz recognized that their revenue model was mostly dependent on asset-fronted debt. Asset-fronted debt means a debt whose repayment was contingent on the vehicle's valuation. Now, to have a better understanding of the debt list, let's go back to 2005 and the huge acquisition of Hertz by a private equity group for $5.6 billion. They did, however, have to take on about $10 billion in debt in the acquisition process. There's also the 2012 merger, which was supposed to buy out the competitors and grow the company, but it ended up costing another $2.3 billion. Hertz had to sell one of its businesses, which was called Advantage, in order to acquire Dollar Thrifty, which meant that Advantage eventually went bankrupt to finance this deal. Hertz attempted to merge the physical locations of Dollar, Hertz, and Thrifty in airports, but doing so required additional capital. Hertz anticipated the merger to save them $100 million, but it actually lost them $70 million. All this led to about $20.2 billion in debt at the end of 2012. In 2014, Carl Icahn paid $2.3 billion for 39% of the company. They, however, committed a blunder, as a result of which competitors poached Hertz's clients by offering lower fares. However, once Catherine Marinello took over as CEO, they achieved significant improvement. The firm had 9 quarters of profitability and growth under its belt, and a possible turnaround was on the horizon. People thought that finally the tide was turning and things would be different, but just then, disaster struck in the name of the pandemic. The pandemic wreaked havoc on Hertz, stranding tourists and business travelers and making it tough for the company to pay its creditors. Airports, which account for the majority of Hertz's and its competitors' revenue, became deserted towns. The value of the fleet also reduced due to a dramatic reduction in used car prices. The whammy was enough for Hertz to file for bankruptcy protection in May 2020 after failing to make a $400 million payment to creditors. However, things appeared to be less terrible for Hertz than they were at the start. Hertz was able to sell roughly 200,000 of its 650,000 vehicles, which undoubtedly helped the company's finances. They also claimed that new customer service strategies would reduce the need for individuals to wait in lines to collect their rental vehicle keys. Hertz will also add additional electric and alternative fuel cars to its fleet. Hertz also made improvements, which include cost reductions, cost adjustments at select airport sites, and the sale of its Dawnlen Fleet Leasing Company for $891 million. They indeed believe that Hertz is on the right pace for solid financial outcomes in the future. If you enjoyed this video, slap a like on it and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with the latest business trends and interesting facts. You can also turn on the bell notification so you don't miss any of our mind-blowing videos. We'll catch you in the next one. Until then, bye!